The Aftermath, every Sunday morning from 6 o'clock on Tab Radio, Racing and Sport.
David, what a day it was yesterday. Stradbroke, always one of our favourite days of the year. Steffi Magnifica, what a win.
It was a big performance, no doubt about that. Right down in the weights there yesterday, Marty, and cashed in. Sometimes when you're a nice horse, you regularly front up in these races. You're taking on high-quality opposition, but when you get that weight relief and you've got a touch of class, opportunities open, and that was the case yesterday for Steffi Magnetica and Zach Lloyd. How brave was Bella Nipotina there yesterday? It was a big drifter. Punters didn't want to be aboard Bella Nipotina, but another really, really classy performance, finishing not far away in second spot. Valana, very good in third, and the inevitable, the Tassie horse, was a super run back in fourth position. Punters that got involved with the first four there yesterday, they'd be rubbing their hands together this morning. $22,624. Cheeky 3 or 4% of that would have been nice, Marty.
Yes, I might have known a punter around the place who could have aced a bit of that. Now, as you mentioned, the T20 World Cup, England have gone through, beating Namibia in that rain-shortened match. 126 was the target set by the Englishmen, and they fell, 1638 runs short.
Yeah, just a little bit light on for batting power, Namibia, but they've had a reasonable tournament. They've got a couple of players in particular that have certainly measured up in different T20 leagues. David Visa, the veteran all-rounder, continues to do a really good job for them. And their skipper, Erasmus, also a really good player, but just lack depth. And that sort of certainly showed through there in that particular game overnight. Credit to England. They looked like they could potentially have been a little bit of trouble, but they've turned things around, and they remain a very, very dangerous opponent for all teams in this particular tournament. And the Aussies, they get underway in a couple of hours' time, taking on Scotland. You'd expect that to be fairly lopsided. That game starts at 8:30 this morning.
Now, the Euro 2024. I love the Euros. I reckon it's one of my favourite football competitions. Italy 2 beat Albania 1. I think the Albanians scored first there as well. Spain 3 beating Croatia 0. Hungary 1, Switzerland 3, Germany 5, Scotland 1. So they were the 4 games overnight. The Germans looking good early.
Aren't they just? These big tournaments, Germany are always one of the key players, and that's a real statement game, isn't it, early? They whack 5 into the back of the onion bag so early on in the tournament. So, they look like they're up and firing. And all those markets with Tab Touch, we've got an absolute truckload of markets on the Euros, and keep your eyes out for the Tab Touch exclusives as well, Marty. I know there's a pile of different specials that'll be on these games throughout the course of the tourney.
Yes. Now the Retrovision text line's open, 0427 789 571. Bluey, the big East Fremantle fan, Bluey.
Yeah, Bluey.
Morning, guys. Bluey here, up early to go help the Sharks as a volunteer today. Fins up. When is John Todd's funeral, please? Would like to go show my respect. I can't help you out there, Bluey.
I know that's a state funeral, so it's going to be a big event as far as I've heard on the way through. It will be announced, and we will bring that to you here on TAB Radio, but that's yet to come through. And it was a big day yesterday there at Bassendean Oval, and this is obviously, Marty, both yourself and I, it's something pretty close to our hearts. I'm lucky enough to spend a bit of time with John Todd over the years. He coached my father as a young guy. I then went on to work at Footy on the Road, the old panel show on a Friday where they'd go to all the different pubs and the like, Marty, and give the updates and talk footy with a great crew of guys. And John Todd was a regular on the panel. One of the nicest, most humble gentlemen you will ever meet. Really down-to-earth fellow. Just a wonderful human being. And he's left a real legacy. Every football club that he's had anything to do with is better for having him involved. You know, he brought the best out in so many young men. And I think while it was a sad occasion, I think it'll be a genuine celebration of his life, this funeral, because he's touched so many people on the way through. He's made so many young men really just blossom and get the very best out of themselves in life. And he's a man that has meant a lot to so many people.
The Swannies too good in that match as well. 10-12-72, beat the Bulldogs 6-9-45. The other game yesterday, Peel 12-12-84, beat Perth 5-10-40. Today's game, Sharks play Subi at Revo Fitness Stadium. We've got James Sullivan joining us on the program. Good morning, James.
Hello, Marty. Hello, Shorty, listeners. How are we, fellas?
I like calling you James.
It's not my real name, you know.
Isn't it?
It's my middle name.
Oh.
There you go.
Well, let's break it. Let's break it. What is your first name?
I was named after my father, actually. My name's Kevin James Stephen.
Kevin. Oh, that's a good old Aussie name. That actually suits you, Kev.
I was going to say, Shorty, that will stick. I know you, bloke.
Oh, that's a beauty, Kev.
KJS.
Oh, love it.
KJSS.
KJSS. Yeah,
So you're actually a junior. You're a junior.
Yeah, I am. Kev Jr.
Not bad.
Hey, I like the way this is starting to pan out for the Storm. Now, I was asked during the week on Drive, someone texted in, sorry, I can't remember who it was, and they said, who do you think at this stage for the final, for the NRL? And I went, well, this time last year we were very confident it was either Penrith or Brisbane. And I said, I think it's Penrith and Storm this year. And that was a big win from our boys over the Warriors, 38-24, coming from 14-0 down.
Yeah, you've hit the nail on the head there, Marty. 14-0 down. We were talking about this last night, and when you think about it, they've still got some pretty important cattle out, aren't they?
Yep.
Yeah, one bloke called Cameron Munster, the other bloke called Ryan Pappenhausen. But young Paulonga's come in and done a great job at the back. And what we've seen, and we know he's a world-class halfback, but what we've seen, Jerome Hughes has just gone to another level, controlling this side, and you've got these kids. No Remus Smith either last night. And once again, the Warriors, let's be totally honest, that's the third time they've let down a packed house, sold-out house at Go Media Stadium in Auckland, and they've let them down again. But, mate, the bottom line is this Storm side at the moment, and we know we're through Origin, and they're probably not missing out as much this year with Origin because Munster's injured, and obviously they haven't got, Jerome Hughes is a Kiwi, so they've got them back at the right time. But, mate, this young group is just starting to really blossom, and you're right. I think it's alive, what you just said. At the end of the day, you look at the Panthers, the Broncos, the wheels have fallen off without Reynolds and Walsh. So, for me, the Storm are up there.
Well, they just come in waves, don't they? They just keep rolling. I mean, yes, that's a great example of it yesterday in that first half. Tries at the 19th, 25th, 29th, 34th. So in the space of 15 minutes, they've run the ball over on 4 separate occasions. More of the same with another 3 tries there in that second half. They just keep coming at you. And the upside to having some high-quality players out is, and he'd be one of the best I've ever seen at this. He just system-based. I don't care who's there. At the end of the day, we've all got a role to fill. And this across all sports. The good coaches are very simple with it. Well, but they're a great example in the sport of AFL. But, guys, you know what? Injuries are going to create opportunities, and what that does do is it gives clubs incredible depth. So now the challenging part is fitting all your guns back into the side and not having a knock onto a winning outfit. It's a great problem to be in.
Yeah, and exactly. And Marty, as we spoke about earlier in the year, they won a number of games by 4 points or less early in the year. Now, those games could have gone the other way, but now all of a sudden they're starting to. Those games that they won earlier in the year by those marginal points, now they're turning them into big wins, aren't they? So, I think, the juggernaut might be coming.
The betting to win it outrights at the moment, this is it. This is really surprising. Penrith 320, Roosters 550, Brisbane 6, Melbourne Storm $6. So it's not as if we've tipped 1-2 in the betting.
You can nearly have a little play every week on Tab Touch and just keep having $10 on them, $10 on them, $10 on them. Adds up at the end of the year.
Oh, absolutely. And at that price, even if you like one or two other things with multis, it jacks your multi up really quick. And even if they don't win the grand final, they make it, you got the opportunity to bet back the other way, and you can settle your book nicely. And the thing too with the Storm is, like you say, so they banked those wins early. They've got 10 wins on the board, just the 3 losses. As the season goes on, you can just manage your team nicely to make sure that they're cherry ripe when the finals do kick in.
Absolutely. And you can give those players that are injured, like the likes of Munster and the likes of Pappenhausen, you can give them a few more weeks, can't you?
You're not rushing them back.
They are cherry ripe.
Yep.
And not coming back early.
This other game, the Roosters and Eels, it was a seesawing affair before the Roosters cleared out 28-18.
Yeah, they showed their class at the back end of it. They had plenty of opportunities. It was one of those games, and as we know, they led at half-time convincingly, and it was 16-6 at half-time, and I thought, oh, here we go. This could be anything. But once again, they fall asleep a little bit, the Roosters. The Eels, to be fair, I tell you what, the Dylan Brown try was special. Just a wonderful individual try. And, you know, we got the Eels, they decided just to let the ball talk. They got nothing to lose. They won't play finals footy. So, to be fair, the back end of the season, they're going to be a side that can annoy a few teams. But, yeah, the Roosters really had to settle back down Tupou, and then Crichton grabbed the sealer in the 75th minute. So, very, very important for the Roosters to get that, because they haven't got a bad month in front of them with who they play.
Sol, it was the battle of the cellar dwellers, with West Tigers taking on the Titans. Bottom two spots on the table. 16th played 17th. And it was 16th who prevailed, with the Tigers 18-10 winners over the Titans. But unfortunately for fans of both sides, she's a long old season ahead.
Yeah, it has been. And the Titans have been up. I know they've been losing games, but they've been losing tight games. And we know the Tigers, you know, had lost 9 in a row. There's been a bit of talk about the West Tigers during the week. They got the good news about the refurb of Leichhardt Oval, so that's good. But it was a Storm off-cast. He was brilliant, Justin Olam. He grabbed 2 tries from him and kept them about. Mate, he was busy all game, Olam. I call him the railway sleeper. I tell you what, I wouldn't want to tackle him. Ooh. But, yeah, it was a win. It was a win that lifted the spirits of the West Tigers. But, as you say, it's going to be a long season, I think. But what we did see, they had 5 or 6 kids that have played SG ball this year, which is under 19s footy. So they're going to get a taste of first grade. I think eventually, and we've spoken about it with the lads, but Benji Marshall, I think he'll be okay. You know, they're just going to have to be patient. Give him a good 12 months with these kids coming through, because there is some good kids. I've seen a lot of them the last few years in the junior reps. So, yeah, but as you say, that sort of game, mate, the cellar dwellers, as you said.
Go back to Friday night, the double, and the Raiders 16 against the Cowboys 34. They were disappointing, Canberra. And then it was the Rabbitohs. Will you pick this one? Beat the Broncos 22-12.
Yeah, the one before, it was amazing being there, because it was like, as you just said, Marty, the Raiders they were asleep. And the Cowboys said, here we go. This is one way to enjoy the cold. We'll lead 22-0 at half time. And that's exactly what they did. They were good. We know, both these sides are the two most inconsistent sides in the comp. But the record at home now for the Raiders, the last 3 games in excess of 110, 12 points now scored against. That's a problem. But massive game for the Cowboys in the context of the season. They were the only team before the weekend, guys, that still had 3 buys. So that's 6 points. And they have a bye next week. That was a 4-point win for the Cowboys on Friday night, getting the 2 and then the bye next week. And the other game, we said it, Shorty's Rabbitohs, they can't. I don't think they can make the finals. Bottom line is, I think they need to win all their games. If they lose 2, they're gone, and they play the Storm and the Penrith in the back end of the season. But, geez, they're going to annoy some sides who want to make the 8.
Sol, isn't it incredible? The news came through that with the great man coming to coach the football club heading forward, and it's almost like since the news broke, things have turned around. Their fortunes have already turned around before he's even rolled in the doors.
Yeah, but the big thing too, I think, Shorty, is Ben Hornby's got the coaching role. He's playing blokes in the right position. You know, I thought Dimitri's biggest thing was he was manufacturing blokes. Right, you play there, you play there. All of a sudden, we're now seeing centres play centres. Jack Whiten's best position for that side is 6. Cody Walker's best position is 7. All of a sudden, they're playing there. Have a look at the points since Jack's gone to 6, and now all of a sudden Latrell's come back, and he's playing better than ever. He'll be named tonight for New South Wales. Don't you worry about that. Interesting picture yesterday, him sitting next to Madge at the reunion, the 2014 Premiership reunion. Yeah, I know what they were talking about. But, yeah, big win. Yeah, big win. And I tell you what, as I said, and to me, the Broncos, no Walsh, no Reynolds, they're not playing well.
No, you're spot on. Spot on. Just quickly on that news as well, Sul. Bennett coming in for the Rabbitohs next season and for the next little patch. This is a really, really important appointment for the club. They have had struggles in recent times, but we know they're such a high-profile outfit and there's talent there, but you just get the sense that everything seems in place to be straightened up, and he's just breathed life straight into the place in a very short space of time. It's a very, very sage appointment.
Yeah, they had a lot of injuries at the start of the year too, and those players that are injured are starting to coming back into it. There's a bit of a vibe, mate. It starts in the 21s, in the reserve guy. No, my young bloke. Everyone's talking about, Wayne Bennett's coming to the club. Now, all of a sudden, you got some of these boys in the under 21s. They're paying for contracts as well. And as you say, Shorty, all of a sudden, these blokes who are being fringe players, the Messiah's coming. We're all playing for contracts. Let's pull the you-know-what out.
Yeah, so, optimism.
It makes a difference.
Sure does. A couple of games today, so we see Manly $1.50 take on St George Illawarra $2.55. All the money here for the Sea Eagles to cover that line. The -5.5's into $1.80. And the later game, Newcastle $3.55, Penrith $1.29. Again, money there for the fave to cover. Penrith to win by 10 or more at the -9.5's into $1.83. Total points on that first game, 50.5, and in the second game, 44.5. What are we doing to make a buck on the NRL this afternoon?
Yeah, it's an interesting game, that first one. Of course, they met earlier in the year, and the Dragons got over the top 20-12. The big thing is obviously Brookvale, isn't it? That's the thing. I think it'll be tighter than what people are saying. To be totally honest, Shorty and Marty, it's a tough game to pick. I've gone this one just for a little bit of a fun. I've gone either team to win by 10 or less.
Okay.
So I don't mind that as $1.94, and I'm going to link it up with, mate, Newcastle Knights, same scenario, at home. It's time. They really need to wake up. They need to flick the switch. Penrith at the moment don't blow you out of the water. They're that sort of side. I think Bradman Best comes back in. So the way I'm going to play it is the first game, either the team to win by 10 or less.
Mm-hmm.
Penrith Panthers 1-12. We get $5.92 for that.
$5.92. So in the first game, either team 10 or less. Penrith 1-12. Very nice odds available about that duo. We love a try scorer, Sul. Who are we teaming up with today?
I'm going to go the back rower. Marty knows I love him. Hamali Olakawatu into Liam Martin. Now, he didn't play. He got that knock in Origin, but he'll be up and about. So we'll go the two back rowers, Olakawatu into Liam Martin. We get $7.50 for that.
$7.50. Olakawatu into Liam Martin. Punters get around that there this afternoon. Sul, what's been the wash-up out of State of Origin Game 1 and that dominant performance from Queensland? What can New South Wales do to turn things around?
Yeah, they'll have to. There'll be some tinkering, no doubt. Obviously, Sawilla is gone, so I think Mitchell comes into the centres. Moses last night wasn't awful, but you've got to remember Luke Keary was in that squad for Game 1 and went back to clubland. So now Moses is fit. Does he come? I think Nico Hines will be. Yeah, I think he'll get dropped. He had an opportunity on Thursday night to roll that Shark side around, and the Dolphins got them there. So minimal changes. I think Hudson Young poor bugger had a shocker on Friday night. He was awful for the Raiders, so he'll probably have a rest as well. So maybe 3 or 4 changes, boys. And look forward to hearing that side announced tonight.
Okay, thanks. All the best, Kevin, and we'll catch up when? Thursday. We'll listen to you with the boys and Friday Drive.
Absolutely. Stay safe, boys.
Go well, Junior.
There is Sully, our man. Now let's talk some greyhound racing with Paul Stuart.
Racing in the Nambalap Cup. Away quickly west on Miley. Sunset Peppy prominent. Disco Daisy between them. Bezecchi's going up with a flurry. Wider Sunset Callisto. Lip tricks the rail. Then King Shot Shy Emoji. Disco Daisy led. Look at Bezecchi Weave Magic. He went down to the rail. He zooms forward. He looks the winner. Then west on Miley and Sunset Callisto. Callisto. Bezecchi hit the lead. This is a brilliant performance against quality. Bezecchi has won from Disco Daisy west on Miley. King shot the Ralphy, poked through for fourth. Then Sunset Callisto. Lip Trick.
That's, I'm sure, a replay that this man Paul Stuart would be delighted to be listening back to. Paul, welcome to the Aftermath on this Sunday morning. Congratulations. What an absolutely stunning performance from your young gun Bezecchi there on Friday night. Well done.
Yeah, good morning, guys, and thank you. He was super. He was, he showed something a little bit different to what he'd done the previous week. He had the 8 in the heat and just stayed wide and just made his run from there. And on Friday night, he actually jumped a lot better than I predicted him to. Found himself in the middle of the pack and just weaved his way through like an old experienced race dog. So it was very good to see.
He made good decisions in the run, and that's one thing you can't inject into greyhounds is track sense and being clever in a field, and you've either got it or you haven't, and Bezecchi has got that in spades there. Certainly was giving away experience to the majority of that field in that Namble Up Cup final, but was just from an awkward draw, made all the right decisions, popped itself into a great spot, and then turning for home, the afterburners kicked in. I'm sure this is a greyhound and a litter in general that you'd be really excited about. Of course, you raced the mother Starlight Yo-Yo with great success. Must be really, really satisfying to see a breed that you've had a really close connection with come out and start to really show that talent on the track.
Yeah, for sure. As you said, I had the mother, and she was like a really, really good bitch. And she's had a couple of litters previous to this one, and up until that point, she was a little bit disappointing. I may probably put it down to probably a poor sire choice on my behalf. And then this Bernardo litter is her third litter, and it's only a litter of 5, and they're all pretty. They can all run, so. Yeah, Bezecchi, he didn't break in very good either. He's only pretty ordinary at the start, but he must just have that race sense about him. Like you say, you can't put that into dogs. They either have it or they don't. Yeah, fortunately, he shows much more excitement on the racetrack on a race night than he does for the written trials. So it's good to see what he's done so far, especially from only a handful of starts up to this day.
Hey, Paul, where does Bezecchi rate compared to some of your other gun sprinters?
To be honest, I didn't really rate him, coming through. His trial times are good without being elite or electric, some to sort of stand himself out, but he's just a race dog, I think. He's you put him in, like on Friday night, to be honest, I thought he was going to be in a world of pain being in box 5 on that corner start, and he shocked me completely with how he raced. He sort of went in, went out. He sort of, he almost ran like he had a jockey on his back. And you're not to know these things until you see him do it in full fields. And so as far as how he's going to turn out, I really don't know how good he's going to be, because he's just, at this stage, he's just a race dog that goes better as the more he goes around.
Definitely, and the upside to the dog, it's now 4 wins on the bounce, but it's done it from boxes 4, 6, 8 and 5. Box draws for dogs that have got potential but are still working it out can be the making or breaking of a lot of young dogs. This could have been the breaking of the dog, 4, 6, 8, 5 on the way through. Instead, it's actually gone the other way and been the making of the dog. It's been in awkward situations and found a way to push through and find a way to get up near the arm and really let rip. The one thing that does stand out about the dog, though, when it does get room, there is that engine. It really clicks through the gears quite quickly.
Yeah, 100%. And that's like just going back to what Marty was saying, how good I think he is. I don't really, I've had a lot quicker dogs that get them bad draws and then their confidence is completely smashed, and then you just don't see it ever from them again. And he's sort of gone the other way around. He's thrived on the pressure, and so as far as how good he's going to be, you just don't know. He's just going better and better, and I just hopefully he can just keep going along this path. He's only a young dog, and he's taken the challenges so far. Obviously, it's going to get harder and harder from now on in. But yeah, so it's definitely a good thing to see.
So what are the next few months look for him?
He just pretty much goes through the grade now. He's won, most of his lower grade races now. He'll step up to probably city class now, and we'll just see how he handles that rise in grade. Obviously, it's always a little bit incremental with the how quick you go to win. And I actually thought he was going to be a 600 metre dog in time. He's sort of showing me a little bit more than in his over 488 than I expected him to. So he might stay around the 500s for a lot longer than I thought.
Oh, absolutely. Obviously exciting. And the fact that we're racing at Mandurah and Northam only for the next 5 months could be a concern if a dog didn't handle the Mandurah circuit, for example. But it must be a great relief to know that the dog does appreciate this Mandurah circuit and can handle it really well. And it's, I guess, a bit of an advantage to have, knowing that they're going to be doing plenty of racing there for city prize money at Mandurah just around the corner for the next 4 or 5 months. Yeah,
exactly right. I was actually pretty concerned with that whole litter because they're not blessed with a lot of early pace, and I just thought the 488 was just going to be a nightmare for him. He's taken to it like a duck to water, and his brother's sort of gone the opposite way. Arbolino, he sort of doesn't like the joint at all at the minute. So yeah, it's just while he's going good, I'll keep him there, and I'll probably head up to Northern with some of the other ones as well and see if they can take to that track. But yeah, we'll be looking forward to Cannington for that to open, because that's sort of. Yeah, that's their main track for sure.
Absolutely. And just quickly, Jimmy's Jet, another really impressive winner on there on Friday night. He's a fast dog, and I love watching him go around. I mean, he's not a betting proposition. He sort of goes around 10s on most times he goes to the races, but he's the sort of dog that people just get excited about and love watching race, and the dog just keeps on racking up the victories.
Yeah, he's been good since he's come back. He hurt his shoulder a couple of months ago, and took him a little bit to get back, and he just sort of lost that early pace. It was really good to see the last 2 starts he speared out and ran the sections. But yeah, he's a very fast dog. He's a strange dog. Even on Friday night, he's been around there, heaps of times, and he's still just cannon into the running rail on the first corner. So he's just a mad chaser, and he just gives his all every time he's out there. So if he can keep himself safe and healthy, he should be in for a good spin.
Probably goes too quick for his own good at some stage. Paul, it's always good to talk to you. Thanks for coming on the Aftermath this morning.
No worries. Cheers, guys.
Cheers, Paul.
He's a ripper.
Dream Hour, 4:50 left to run. Prince of Boom on the outside of Here to Shock, the first couple. Running home well as Amenable, Bellinipatina and Volana making good ground. Look at Steffi Magnetica shooting through the inside. Steffi Magnetica down the outside, Volana and Bellinipatina. Steffi Magnetica, Bellinipatina down the outside. The inside, Steffi Magnetica, Bellinipatina. They're the two. They hit the line, and Steffi's won the straight right. Steffi Magnetica from Bellinipatina.
Terrific day for Bjorn Baker there at Eagle Farm. Takes out the Stradbroke, and Chris Nelson's here to tell us all about it. G'day, Chris.
Good morning, Marty. Good morning, Shorty. And yeah, Bjorn Baker wasn't on track, but probably would have been a bit of a party if he was.
Yeah, I think, where is he, overseas? Has he gone to Royal Ascot? Is that where he is at the moment?
No, he's at Rachel King's wedding, would you believe? Rachel King's getting married overseas, and he's over there. So
good on him. They've had
there you go.
Yeah, they've been very good for each other, haven't they, those two? But let's tell us about this winner, Steffi Magnetica, beating Bellinipatina. She is a superstar. Volana third, the inevitable. I know my colleague here had something on at the big odds and looked a bit unlucky too in the straight.
Oh, poor old Shorty. That run's continuing, Shorty. He's done a good fourth, the inevitable.
Chris, please, let's move on from that. Another small just a small setback, but that's okay. We certainly got to run for our money. That's okay. But yeah, geez, all honours with the winner, and as Marty alluded to, Bellinipatina. She was really on the nose with the punters yesterday from barrier 21, and obviously carrying a top weight. Got out to, I think, as big as about 16, so money came late, but punters didn't want to be with Bellinipatina, but she showed yesterday she's just a incredibly talented mare, and she smashed the line again. But all honours with the lightly weighted Steffi Magnetica, and well done to Bjorn Baker, just identifying the right race at the right time.
Yeah, and well done to Zach Lloyd, who rode Steffi an absolute treat. I mean, she drew wide as well, so he went back, and he was a long way back. But I tell you what, guys, they ran a really quick first half or first 800 of the Stradbroke. They went really quick in front, so those leaders had no chance. But Steffi cut the corner on the home turn and saved a stack of ground. Then he zigged back to the middle of the track, and it was a 2-horse duel over that last 150 metres or so. And the 6 kilos, I would say, had a lot to do with the result there of, a quarter of a length on the line. So, yeah, look, both mares ran out of their skin. They ran terrific races, and you can't knock either. Valana, I thought, had every possible chance, but ran well, and he's now a very honest horse since that gelding operation. Yours, Shorty, we won't talk about again. There's probably not much more. Antino blew the start. That was the end of any chance he had. Looking for a sneaky good run in the race. I didn't really see anything other than it was pretty much went to plan. The race went to tempo, and the result went to plan. If you back Steffi Magnetica, that's for sure.
She's the 5th Group 1 winner for All Too Hard. She's only a 3-year-old filly, and this Queensland Carnival has not the habit, but it does it every year. Just horses get up there and win, and then they go on to become very, very good horses. And we'll talk about a few more throughout in the next little bit. Could this be one of them?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's been going on for years, Marty. I remember my dad telling me he was always looking for horses that wintered in Queensland and returned to Melbourne in the springtime, and they just get the sun on their back. And it's been unbelievable, the weather here in the last few weeks. If you've got a horse racing here or sitting out in the paddock spelling, it's going to do them the world of good rather than sitting around with a coat on you, freezing your backside off at 8 to 10 degrees. So it makes good sense. I mean, last year we had to think about it with the Stradbroke and the Everest. We know what Without a Fight did. And there are others as well that popped up. So it's just a recipe for success, I would have thought.
Yeah, and one horse yesterday that you'll be hearing a lot more of, it was just absolutely devastating in taking out the J.J. Atkins at Group 1 level, broadsiding. J-Mac I was dead set. I was in here watching the race with Marty yesterday on air, Chris, and I've never seen a jockey get up high in the irons at the furlong like J-Mac did there yesterday. It was just all over, lights out stuff, and it just treated the rivals with absolute contempt there yesterday. And when you win that easily, you can tell it's just different gravy completely to the opposition that's meeting at the moment. This horse has got an awful lot of upside.
Oh, a ton of upside. And what will it get in the Cox Plate? 49.5, something like that. So that'll be the aim now. But look, I mean, he beat up on inferior opposition yesterday, but that is taking nothing away from him. I love him. He's just an absolute ripper. He had them put away very quickly. He was bolting at the 500-metre mark. And the other major factor here was they did not run this race hard. It was basically a sprint home. And he's given them 4 lengths before the home turn, and then just put them to the sword when J-Mac asked him for an effort. And as you said, Shorty, that last 100 metres, he's sitting up there celebrating, which he copped a $500 fine for, by the way. But Springer waits for broadsiding. Can't wait to see how he goes.
Yeah, let's talk about the mare, Say Majik. Went to the sales, Coolmore Border. She's just come out and went bang in the Dane Ripper for Chris Waller, new trainer James McDonald.
This was a really good win. Now, I just thought maybe she'd take the run, but she sat outside Chinny Boom in the run, and they went hard in front. The numbers say that this race was run very, very quickly. So those backmarkers had some sort of a chance of getting home over the top of the leaders. And we saw Chinny Boom just completely capitulate from the straight. Saying that Stick sat outside Chinny Boom and just powered away from them and won convincingly by, what was the margin, 1.5 lengths on the line, and did it very, very easily. Was very heavily back. First run for Chris Waller. So you'd have to think, this is a mare that's going forward, going to win more races. I don't know where she heads next, but I want to be with her for sure.
She's going to is it the Silk Stocking?
The Tiara, probably.
Oh, the Tats Tiara, yeah.
And where she'll go.
And Waller said after the race that was the race she's been aimed for, so that she's set to peak in the Tats Tiara.
Well, they're going to find it hard to beat her if that's the case.
Yeah. So very, very ominous signs, and I guess a similar scenario to when we spoke a fortnight ago after broadsidings, when, Chris, where you said on that occasion, how is anything going to turn the tables on this horse off what we saw there yesterday, and knowing that the horse is set to go to another level again in a fortnight's time, it may be a similar story and another really good betting opportunity for punters to get involved with Say Majik in a couple of weeks' time.
Well, I think when we said that a couple of weeks ago, broadsiding, you guys checked was even money. Gee, that seems like luxurious odds now that we look back, doesn't it?
We checked straight after the race yesterday too. $8, Cox Plate?
Cox Plate on the third line of betting at $8. It was there yesterday when we had a look sort of straight after the race. I'll quickly get it up here on the Tab Touch app as we speak, and I can give you a bit of an update again there. So Pride of Jenny is at $4.80, $5 Romantic Warrior, and then 2 on the third line, Prognosis and Broadsiding, both at $8.50.
Wow.
So, it's a fair old trim up, but as Chris has alluded to, 49.5 kilos is a luxurious weight for a very talented young horse to be getting, and it'll be a horse, I'm sure, that'll attract a lot of attention between now and the big race. Chris, one other really impressive win on the day there yesterday was in the last. Faulkner Park looked cherry ripe to peak there yesterday, and it'd be really strong to the line, and that's exactly how things panned out. It was a really nice performance ridden by Tyler Schiller. Knight's Choice good at massive odds for second, and Boy D'Argent had a good time of it up in there in Queensland. It was a solid run from the grey back in third.
Yeah, he's really announced himself yesterday, Faulkner Park. I think we all knew he had ability. His Doomben Cup run was good. He was probably a bit stiff there, and he would have won the race in another 40 or 50 metres, if not sooner. He needed the extra ground. He got to 2,200 metres in what was a really good race. I thought that race yesterday was a better field overall than the Doomben Cup. And wow, once Tyler Schiller let him go, he put them away really quickly and showed a devastating turn of foot. So, yeah, he heads towards the spring. He is a favourite, I believe, for the Caulfield Cup at this stage, of which he got a golden ticket.
Yep,
winning that race yesterday. So, yeah, he he didn't beat great horses, but he did it very, very well. And you can only win races, and when you win them like that, you have to be followed going forward. The Beaten Brigade, as you mentioned there, Knight's Choice was fantastic as a $91 shot. Vow and Declare ran a good race, obviously better suited on top of the ground, and Kovalika, well, there he was again, guys. You can find a few people wanting to tip him once again, but gee, he's a bit of a muncher, isn't he, Kovalika?
Yeah, no doubt. And how many times have we had Annabelle on this program, or Rob Archibald, and when they talk about this horse, it's always glowingly about what he's going to do. Yeah. Well, he's another one, what we're talking about. They get him up to Queensland. Watch him going forward now, and now he's in the Caulfield Cup.
Absolutely. So that market, Chris, militarised $15, Faulkner Park 16, along with Riff Rocket, Gold Trip 18 for Orchestral and Warmonger. But yeah, right up there towards the top of betting off that performance yesterday, and certainly a horse that we can follow. It was really strong to the line, which is a really encouraging sign over that 2,400 metres heading forward. Some other really good races throughout the course of the day there yesterday at Eagle Farm. Bases Loaded was a nice winner, defeating Port Lockroy and McHale in the Group 3 Gunsing Classic.
Yeah, Timmy Clark, we know how good he is on a front runner. He just rated this one beautifully, Bases Loaded. Third up from a long break. The money came, so you knew he was going to run well. Once he found the front, was able to dictate, that was the end of it. And the likes of Razors, who was held up to the 200-metre mark, I don't think he would have beaten Bases Loaded the way the race was run anyway. He probably would have finished a little bit closer. Port Lockroy got a tick, McHale got a tick, but yeah, they were never going to beat Bases Loaded.
Now, the Brisbane Cup, 3,200 metres, and Allegra on a horse they paid $40,000 for, out of a Godolphin sale, I think, by Teofilo. He's a champion, Cyrus Sayers, this horse, and wow, he was impressive. They ran 3:20.71. They moved along a bit. He'll get into the Melbourne Cup, you reckon, and run a good race?
Yeah, he'll be thereabouts in the springtime. I mean, it wasn't the strongest Brisbane Cup of all time. I mean, I think Mostly Cloudy was probably a little bit stiff. You could make a case. Mostly Cloudy went for the inside run there for Blake Shin. It didn't eventuate until inside the 200-metre mark, and by that stage, Allegron had a full head of steam up and was steaming down the outside. So, look, run the race again, you might get a different result. But both horses are genuine stayers, and they'll be around the mark, as I said, in the springtime.
Absolutely. The first few races, Freedom Rally taking out the first. Wallinga Beast was good in the second, and Megastar Hard in the third. J-Mac putting on an absolute clinic again there yesterday, Chris. This guy, it's high time. I think punters love the man, and same with William Pike here in WA. Punters love backing winners, and when you've got jockeys that continue to front up week in, week out, wherever they ride, delivering, sometimes you've got to pay a little bit of tax on the way through for having them aboard horses you like. But I tell you what, I'm happy to pay tax on decent income rather than no tax on losing bets.
Oh, 100%. I mean, we've had 18 races at Eagle Farm in the last 2 weeks. He's ridden 9. So he's ridden the card, basically, at one of those meetings. And, look, Freedom Rally was never going to win that first race until the last little bit, and he got that home. It ran a new course record, broke the track record, Freedom Rally, in the first.
Yeah, he did.
And Megastar Heart, Marty, well, probably not one of J Mac's best rides, but he still got it home, sat 3 and 4 wide. The horse was just way too good for them. So, yeah, I'm with you, Shorty. I think he's an absolute superstar. Wherever he goes in the world, he rides winners and deserves all the credit he gets.
Just want to go back to that Tony Gollon winner in the first course record. We mentioned it, last week or the week before, coming out of the Kingsford Smith.
Kingsford Smith.
So it was a Group 1 dropping down into, a Group 2. Course record, we mentioned the form of that Kingsford Smith was questionable around Freedom Rally. Well, now we know it's not.
No, well, we know Bella Nipotina came out of the same race, Freedom Rally. Look, the time they ran, he might have been competitive in the Stradbroke if he had got in the field. He might have been up there in the first, he might not have won or run second, but he could have been, 3rd to 5th, 3rd to 6th sort of thing. So I think based on that, and once again, they dawdled basically in front of all the speed was in the last 600 metres of the race. But the way he knuckled down late, you'd have to say that he's looking for further now, Freedom Rally. Where Tony Gollin goes with him, I don't know. Yeah, but he needs maybe 1,800 next prep or even 2,000.
I think it was a great example, though, Chris, and I think you summed it up really well. He just kidded to this horse the whole way up the straight. I thought at about the 300-metre mark. I don't know how much is left here, but he just kept the horse comfortable, in range, and then that last little bit, he just picked it up, hustled, bustled, and the horse responded. It takes a pretty talented and an informed jockey to be able to just keep horses comfortable and be in a striking position late to get the job done, and he did it beautifully. Now, speaking of striking positions, you're in one yourself, Chris. What about this, Marty? Chris rang me through the week. He's off to Bali for a holiday, never been there before, but his son, what about this for a gig, has found himself a job. Just tell the listeners where your young fella's working at the moment, Chris.
He is working in Bali for 6 months at a surf camp, and it's a Swedish-Scandinavian surf camp. I'll say no more.
Okay. No, we can get it.
It'd be a tough gig for a young man. It'd be a tough gig. And Chris, as every good father would do, just have to check in and make sure that he's doing okay over there. Yeah,
got to make sure he's doing the right thing. And I won't be hanging around with him and his guests too much. I feel 150 years old, but no, I'll be going there to make sure. So I'm looking forward to it. Got a bit of advice off you, Shorty, which was much appreciated. So I'll be on next Sunday morning, and then that's it for a couple of weeks for me. But I don't know what to expect, to be honest, over there.
Okay, before we get going, I'm sure race 2, number 5, the second horse, Periel, or however you say it, for McDonald Cummings is one of your black bookers. Wow, I think the Duff is still picking himself up off the ground after that one.
Yeah, absolute moral beating there, Periel, out of race 2. So it goes into black book. Only, I think, second run back. I'm not sure, but maybe some more. I wouldn't think so. They'll probably put it away for the spring. Depth of character, one of our Annabelle Neeshams was good in race 3, I thought, behind Megastar Heart. And Bazzusto, the Buzz, in race 6, he ran out of his skin. He won a maiden last start, and he ran really well in the JJ. So he's probably going to win some better races going forward as well.
Any winners today, Sunshine Coast?
Look, it's a tough day. There's no good things, but I'm going to tip you. Race 2, number 6, Beachside Babe each way, comes out of that horrible Bow Desert protest. Remember that, Dave? It's the one that got beaten about 3 or 4 months ago, Beachside Babe. And race 5, number 14, Capitan de Cedars, about $20. Just a bit of a throw at the stumps. A couple of bucks each way.
Thanks, Chris. We'll do it again next week.
Thanks, guys. Have a good day.
From different angles, you are listening to The Aftermath on Tab Radio Racing and Sport.
Yes, and Racetrack Ralphy joins us as well. Good morning.
Good morning, boys. Sandown yesterday, pretty plain sort of meeting, and unfortunately, again, I've got to report that Melbourne Racing Club track hasn't played real well. So, really, there was about 3 lanes in play on speed. Great advantage, and unlike Sandown normally, where you could really make ground out super wide, so we have to put that lens on it accordingly.
Indeed. Now, on a day where there weren't sort of any huge rating races other than probably race 8, we might just go through top to tail, Ralphie. Race number 1 of the day, Blue Renegade, was too good for interest. Point in for the 2-year-olds.
Yeah, really good trainer, Matty Ellerton, isn't he? And then when he gets one up and running, it keeps going. So Blue Renegade ran similar time to Mrs. Chrissy later, which is what I always like seeing with 2-year-olds. So whether he's got another run in him, only time will tell. But if Matt keeps him going, I think he'll remain hard to beat. But, good little speedy horse, and I think he's going to have a lot of fun with him over the journey.
Linda Meach in form on 10 deep in the second.
Yeah, well, it was hard to assess after winning by 6 lengths at Seymour against not much, but it's made good progression here, so wouldn't be surprised if it can keep going, but a very small field and a bit sort of basic, but that time lines up well with the next race, which was Name Dropper. We've got a very soft lead throughout. I would be very wary of the fall from race 3.
All right. Name Dropper. Sounds like you're not overly keen there out of that particular race. Miss Roombini was a good winner of race number 4, Ralphie, the 3-year-old fillies race. And Marty and I were working yesterday. You reckon the punters didn't forget to lay back into this $10 into $3.40, if you don't mind?
Absolutely right, and that was the truckload, and they, in quotation marks, knew, because this was certainly one of the big wins of the day. And blow me down, Batrano, who I was keen on, 360 out to 440 and Paul's up lane. So it's amazing how they the market intel was in play there, but it was the only horse that that really had the real form on the board there. It wasn't right in the day, but Miss Roombini certainly was. I think this is one horse you can really trust in the meeting. There's probably 3 winners. This is one of them. It had no real exposed form, so when the truckload comes, it says that they had some real market confidence that this was better than what it had been doing race day, and lightly raced and on the up.
Aquana in the 5th late was good.
This is the second of them, so it was really good. Team Freeman had two big winners yesterday. This was one of them. It was just in the complete wrong part of the track against the race shape at Caulfield. Line that up with Episodic as well. That South Australian horse who was favourite and ran second in that race. Keep an eye on Episodic a bit once again, because it's as good a thing as Arcana was yesterday. So nice win.
All righty, moving on to race number 6, and it was hard to cross. Jayla Kennedy continuing that very good form, defeating Golden Crusader. Crackerjack Prince back in 3rd. Jayla Kennedy going to get some good opportunities over the next couple of months, Ralphie.
Yeah, she's the horse to follow is the jockey from the meeting, that's for sure. So she's just doing everything right, and this horse is doing everything right too. So 3 in a row at Sandown, loves it here, and they cleared out to Golden Crusader. Produced good pace early, thought it was good value at the price, and even though it had the track run to suit yesterday, they just spaced the rest. So Golden Crusader, get him in another, if they can find another firmish sort of track, in other words, not a bottomless one, it'll be pretty hard to break through.
Ralphie, you got a minute for the rest of the meeting. Let you go.
Yeah, just make it nice and easy. Just go that last winner, Cadmus. So it's got a lot more to come. So it was the winner of the day, Cadmus. The others, Miss Roombini and Arcana. Of those who got beaten, the big forgive is Windstorm for sure.
Very nicely done. What are we making of football at the moment, Ralphie?
Well, Shorty, I'm not confident that we can still win the bye the way the D's are going. It's been a fun run. I think there's horses, the teams on the up like Sydney. Sydney remind me of the D's 3 years ago. Young, they're all in the zone. Maybe 1 or 2 veterans, but I think everyone else is playing for second this year.
Yeah, that looks away at the moment. Racetrack Ralphie at racetrackralphie.com is where you find all of that information. Thanks for coming on the program today.
Good on you, boys.
Cheers, Ralphie.
On The Aftermath, it's time to introduce the 1985 Brownlow medalist from the Footscray Football Club, Brad Hardie. Introducing the boy from Hilton, the AFL guru, Brad Hardie.
Good morning, Bradley.
Good morning, Marty. Good morning, Shorty. Good to be with you, boys. Plenty to get through, but can I just start off by saying, if you're a Sydney Swans and a Joel Amati fan, if you back the race 6 at Randwick, Rosehill yesterday, Shorty, and then butted up on Joel, how good a day would he have had? Unbelievable.
It was a proper party. 9 big ones there for Joel and Marty last night there at the Adelaide Oval. It's a game that I'm sure he will absolutely remember for a long time to come, and may well be a breakthrough game for this particular young man. Sometimes you just need to know you can do it, and 9 is a pretty good reminder that you've got a bit of ability in front of the big sticks.
We had a very well-to-do lady, Marty, ring us last night on Footy Nightline. She was a Sydney Swans supporter, David, from South Melbourne. She backed a Marty in race 6 at Rosehill, and it paid $7.80. And then I backed up on Sydney and had Joel and Marty to kick 6 goals plus. So I've done very well with my dollar.
Oh, my goodness.
Well done, old dear.
What a fill-up. What a fill-up. She could probably buy the house next door to her now in one of those leafy suburbs.
After that.
Yes,
well, let's go back to where it all started yesterday. Western Bulldogs 149, Fremantle 82. Nobody saw this one coming.
No. Beautifully executed plan by Luke Beveridge. Completely ambushed the Fremantle Dockers. We sort of sensed that, and look, fair play. I mean, he's had his fair share of criticism, Bevo, during the year, but look, they were pretty confident if they could target a handful of players, and I don't mean absolutely try and negate them full stop, but they targeted Sarong, Brayshaw, Ryan and Sharp in particular, and they wanted to try and keep a lid on the bloke, what's his name, with the halfback flank, Clark, which sort of he got away a little bit, but he had goals scored against him going back the other way, Shorty. So it was a brilliant plan. The 2 ruckmen, Tim English did a beautiful job there in not only winning his fair share of balls around the ground, but kicking a couple of goals, and it worked out really, really well. They ambushed them completely, and again they were probably, and Justin Long, we were touched on it after the game, and they're drinking their own bathwater, Shorty. 90-odd point win against Melbourne. Everyone's telling them how good they are. They're talking top 2, top 4, not them, in themselves.
Personally,
but,
no.
Everyone around it, it's just going to happen, and we'll be right. I know that Garlo was at a function on Friday. We'll beat the Bulldogs tomorrow, so it was the perfect setup, and Bontempelli been ill all week, didn't he? What is going on there? And that's the biggest problem for me with Justin and Matthew Nicks last night. I mean, they've got that many people in the box there, boys, watching computers and watching green lights and red lights, and there was a huge red light last night in the Sydney game with a bloke called Grundy, and there was a huge red light for Fremantle yesterday with a bloke called Bontempelli, but nothing's done about it. It was quite remarkable, really. Well done to the Dogs, and they fully deserve their win, and they keep their season alive at 7-7.
2 points, Bradley. First one, with the point you just made in regards to negating some of the key players for Fremantle. Well, Jeremy Sharp, whoever went to him deserves a massive pat on the back. He had, for a guy that's been getting a lot of the football this season, he had 4 disposals for the entire game, and he was on the ground the whole game. 4 touches for a whole game. And secondly, the other thing that came into play yesterday, and it's going to over the next little bit, and we've discussed this at length over the last couple of years, how sides come back after a bye. Now, some sides handle it no problem at all. I just get the feeling that Freo may have, just as you've touched on, coming off a big win, then the bye. It's all come together, and maybe they've just had the feet on the dashboard for 1 or 2 days too many. And if you turn up not quite right in this competition now, they get at you pretty quick.
Yeah, it was a pretty good run for the teams that did come up. A good majority, two-thirds of them won. But as you say, Shorty, it all depends what you do. The other thing that the plan was to go smaller forward, Marty, and you saw that. I mean, it was just Lobb and Ugle-Hagan, because that was and then you had Riley West, you had Bontempelli was going to be that floating forward, and how many times did he get in space down there? Dearie me. And they were there to put pressure on Luke Ryan. They wasn't going to be walking out, kicking out from fullback and having it 35 times uncontested. And it worked beautifully. Ugle-Hagan had his hands full with Pearce. Pearce was very good in the first half, but the damn wall broke eventually. And, you see with the goal scorers, Waitman back in the team was terrific. So Ugle-Hagan, Waitman, Bontempelli, Lobb, and West, there you go, bang. And if you're going to pull Fremantle apart, you've got to pull their back six apart, and that's exactly what the Dogs did.
And that's what Bevo said in the press conference, didn't he? He said that.
Yep.
He said that if you allow them to play that game, and you've been preaching this for weeks, if you allow them that uncontested game off halfback, they'll kill you. But they kept them to 70 marks, I think. And I've got to tell this about Jeremy Sharp, because we had a texter about it as well, and Paul from Palmyra, who actually won the Tab Touch voucher. So I did some form on Jeremy Sharp this morning, because I'm big on the running. So he ran 15.5 kilometres yesterday. So he was running 2.58 kilometres for a possession. So think about this. In that, he's had 44 sprints. So that's high. That's high, right? Yes. So he is running up. What is he doing, Brad? What's going on? How does this happen in the modern game? That you run almost 16 Ks, you're running almost 4 kilometres for a possession.
I'll go back to, a few years now, but remember when Andrew Jarman was playing at the Adelaide Crows, and look, he was a good quick kick in his own right, but what he used to do for the Adelaide Crows, he was the source, like Sarong is for Fremantle, and Liberatoria did a great job on him. They were sort of against each other. Both had numbers, but Liber's impact on the game was far greater. The bottom line is that you go to the receiver. You don't go to the source. You go to the receiver.
Yep.
And that's what they did yesterday. They said, well, we're not going to go to Sarong or whatever who's going to try and farm the ball out to Sharp. We're going to sit on Sharp. So
Correct.
He can run and run and run and run. But, if you've got somebody up your ginger the whole way around, it makes life very, very difficult for you. And that was the premise of yesterday's move.
Absolutely. I just think, to credit to the Doggies, it was all well manufactured and orchestrated. And Bontempelli, though, just quickly on him, there was a goal there yesterday where he had, on one arm, he had Pearce. On the other arm, he had Ryan. And so you got the two big dogs for Freo, literally they had arm each, and he still found a way to get a little tickle on the ball, kick it up to himself, brush one off, brush the other off, then snap on the left. It was one of the great goals you've ever seen for a guy that Freo were flat stick, just doing everything they could to hold him out, and still couldn't stop him. He's that good. When his will is just phenomenal, Brad. And I know as a Dogs man yourself, you must consider yourself incredibly lucky as a football club to have a man, not just as good a player as what he is, but as good a leader as he. He'd been crook all week, like you said. A lot of guys would probably say, look, I'll have a week off. He wanted to get out there and lead from the
play like he did.
He is just a mighty human being as well as being a phenomenal footballer.
Well, we saw it on Friday night, Shorty. It's far easier to have a Windhager go to a Lachie Neale because, 5'10", 5'11", Collingwood 6'4", call them what you like. You can get anybody who can match up with no real ability. We're not saying Windhager doesn't have ability, but it's easier to match up on Lachie Neale. When you've got a like on Paddy Cripps or Marcus Bontempelli or Nat Fyfe in his prime, they're 6'3", 4'5". It's a unique it's a unique guy that's got to be able to do that. Now, we were hoping that Hayden Young went with him, and Hayden Young started with him on the at the stoppages and the like, but Hayden Young was also a necessity for Fremantle in the midfield, so he didn't go with Bontempelli when he rolled forward, and that was the difference, and a really big, but he's remarkable, at ground level for a bloke his size. When you think about it, his agility below the knees is first class.
Now the next game, and I've had a long, hard look at this one, and an old enemy is starting to arise, and I'm getting very, very worried. Hawthorn 97, beat Richmond 49. Wow.
Yeah.
They are a side to really put a red mark alongside their name and watch them go, because if they continue this on, Brad, and I don't think they've hit the bye now. That's another thing.
Yep.
These are a young group of players who have hit the bye running. They'll come back off the bye. They can make the 8.
Absolutely. It's going to be an absolute Hotham handicap when it comes to the 7th and 8th spot, isn't it? And we spoke about the draws, Shorty, during the year and how important they're going to be. Those 2 points for some of these teams are going to be absolutely vital. But from Hawthorn's point of view, I thought they were really good things. I couldn't believe the odds. There was a lot of swill around, and rightfully so, Dusty's 300th, but you knew they were going to rain on the parade. If things were all things being equal, they were going to rain on their parade, and they are a young team on the move, as you say, Marty, and they were terrific again yesterday, and they just continue to stump up, show up, and they're building their confidence levels each game that they play. They're probably a bit dirty. They're having a bye.
Yeah, he is. He said that.
They probably want to keep going. You know, when you're in form, don't flirt with it, as they say in the classics. No, they're going outstandingly well, and if that young Watson gets on top of his kicking, he's having a bit of he's got the grind Myers going around the corner and all that sort of stuff. If they had a kick straight, who knows what could have happened. But well done to Dusty. And as I say, I often say milestones, millstones, and it was a terrific 82,000 there yesterday.
92. How's this?
92,000.
I've got some numbers for you, Brad. Outside of the annual Anzac Day clash, the crowd of 92,311 at the MCG is just the second home and away game since 2001 to hit 90,000. It is also the biggest home and away crowd for any match up to excluding Anzac Day since 1981. Wow. So it gives you a great indication of how much love there is, not just from Richmond fans, but I think from the football community in general for Dustin Martin, for people to turn up in those numbers yesterday.
Obviously, I wasn't there because I had to work, but I was watching it and I thought, well, it reminisced to me. It was like Shane Warne, when Shane Warne was, farewelling, you know what I mean? And it was amazing. So well done to Dusty. As I said, milestone, millstone. He started the game with a bang, but there wasn't much pop after that. But and the end bit was sort of like, people said, oh, is he farewelling? Well, I think he's farewell. I said to Marty on Friday, I reckon he's farewell in Richmond, but I think he's still going to play on. So it's going to be. Whether he does a hard week in the next couple of weeks and sort of needs a break, who knows? But I don't think so. He said on the ground, which he very rarely talks, as you know, with Jack Riewoldt he did, and he said, I'm looking forward to the game after the bye. But, there's 2 weeks between now and then. But, I think you'll find that there's been a change of heart at the Gold Coast, and I think I reckon he's going to be up there, and that means that Daniel Rioli won't be going to the Gold Coast now, and he'll stay at Richmond. So that's good news for Richmond, and not so good news for Dusty fans. But I just think it was a little bit of a farewell. Thank you, love you all. I'm still going to play on for now, but this might be the last year. So he did had a captured audience. Put it that way.
Right, that final game last night, Adelaide were up and about. At one stage, they traded into $1.50 live betting to win this game. That's how up and about they were. And then Sydney just flick a switch like they can. And I don't know what they are to win it now. Before this round, they were $3.50. We mentioned on Drive during the week that should be taken because they'll just continue to keep on keeping on for mine.
Yeah, they're superb. I mean, as I say, they just don't panic, and Longmire's the best in the caper right now. I know he hasn't won all the flags that maybe a Chris Scott or a Hardwick or a Clarkson have won, but it's just his ability to regenerate this group for such a long period of time. You just think they're going to fall over at some stage. But, they was terrific again last night. Behind the 8 ball, full marks to Adelaide. They came to play, and they certainly did do that early in the game. But my question, I did the game, Marty, and I kept questioning, can they sustain it? Can they sustain it? And the answer was no. And that's the unfortunate thing. Fogarty teases you. He leads twice, takes 2 terrific grabs, kicks a couple of goals. That's it. Nothing more. Nothing else. What's their midfield? They just worked Jordan Dawson over. They worked it. Rory Laird can have it 58 times. It doesn't hurt anybody. So they had it down pat. But again, last night, Grundy just absolutely dominated. I couldn't work it out. I was getting very angry, and I'm not even a Crows supporter. I'm thinking, well, those red lights would have been going off. Poor old Strawny. He looked like Strawny off the TV, the way he was playing. So they should have thrown someone else in there to give him have a crack at him, try and negate him a little bit, but they just didn't do it, and they paid the penalty. They didn't kick it. They kicked the 1 goal, I think, Marty, in the last 45 minutes, and committed they all went pear-shaped when they committed the show of muscle. Hinge ran in and knocked Taylor Adams over, but I don't know why, and it cost them 2 goals in a row, and that was just about the party all over.
Yeah, it got a bit feisty throughout the evening, wasn't it? But why they're not playing O'Brien? If O'Brien is not a 30 lengths better ruckman than Straw, and I'll give it up. I will give it up.
100%, Marty, and I don't know. And even the day he got big, I'm not a big, champion data man, but I recall in the game that he got dropped short, they have that stat for pressure acts. He had 50 that game.
100%.
Pressure acts. and got dropped.
Yeah, there's got to be more to it.
There is more to it. Apparently, after the game, he give it to the coaches.
There you go. There had to be more to it.
Because he said it's not us, not all of us, it's you blokes as well. That's when I think Hawthorn beat him, didn't they? That was a game?
It comes to the...
Richmond.
It eventually comes to the fore, Marty, and you've just nailed it. Brad, there's not a chance. And somebody, at the end of the day, somebody's just got to put their hand up and say, just be honest and upfront with the punters. That's all we ask for. As fans of the game, please just be honest. Don't tell us it's form-related. People go, because you do your research like you just have and say, well, hang on, you've got a bloke here that is dead set inferior, getting a game. Just be honest up front. And to be fair, the coaches do need to have a look at themselves. Adelaide came into this season with a fair bit of expectation, Bradley, and they have done zero.
Oh, he's in all sorts at the moment. There's no doubt about that. The only similarity between Grundy and Strawn is they're 202 centimetres apiece.
Wow.
But I kept looking. I was going through the game. Well, there's a bloke called Braden Cook, number 15, only 190. But, geez, you could jump. Have a go, boy. In you go. You're going to, or go to, there was another one, Nick Murray.
Yes.
195. He got a bit of size about it. Put him in the ruck, mate. Just try and stop it. They had silver service. And, Marty played out of his skin, as I said. He'd had 4 kicks at half time, 4 goals, and it was a remarkable performance, and they've all kept following him and doing the right thing. But they're in a world of hurt now, Adelaide. I'm not sure exactly. Look, they all wanted to argue and umpire, and they haven't got Tex Walker, but they can't rely on Tex all the time. I mean, that's not going to. He's 34, so they're not going to get any better there. They've got a bit of pain, but it's the Swans. They're going along beautifully. They're going along nicely. That game next week against the Giants will be good.
Tell you who is going along beautifully. Lisa from Allenbrook. She joins us. Morning, guys and team. Amazing scenes at MCG last night for Dusty's 300th. Brad, woof. Epic captain's game by the Bont. Gave the Dockers a reality check. 67-point drubbing. Shows they've got a long way to go. Guys, how's this? Sydney race 6. Rosehill winner Amati 7. 72-20 in Adelaide Oval. Reigning goals. Sydney Swans. Joel Amati 9 goals. Sensational game by this young man. Brad, have you heard Essendon Matt Guelphy will be at the Eagles in 2025? Take care. Have a great day and weekend. Cheers, Lisa of Allenbrook. Well, what about that
they're trying
one?
Everybody.
Guelphy.
They're trying everybody. They're trying the Warners. They're trying Baker. They're trying Guelphy. They're going to try and land somebody somewhere along the line. There's a bit going on, and I say, but there's bigger fish in the ocean they're trying to fry at the moment, and that's keeping Harley Reid for one. And I think there's going to be some player movement for sure and certain. I don't think that mid-season trade will get up next year, but that's why you'll have to go devilishly hard over the upcoming trade summer period, I think, boys. Because, I think Josh Battle wants to go from St Kilda to the Hawks. And, as I say, Daniel Rioli's changed his mind going back to Richmond. Dusty going up to the Gold Coast. There's a lot of moving parts here, boys, and we're going to see it unfold, particularly those sides that aren't any longer in the race for the 8 because, they're going to be preparing as quickly as they possibly can. That includes the West Coast, naturally. And if they're not careful, there's a few other teams that might be able to join them if they don't pick their game up.
So what's the deal with Elliot Yeo?
Well, again, they're playing hard ball. The Eagles have offered him two years at less money, about $750. It's not to be sneezed at, but there's much more money to be gained elsewhere. But they, it's bottom line is they're preying on the fact that he's not in great shape himself, his father, and they're hoping that's going to do it all. That's not the way to do business. The other bloke, I tell you, keep an eye on this. I'm telling you, take it to the bank. Oscar Allen, he wants an extension, but they're not giving him one. They want to see him play. No, that's fair enough. He's contracted until the end of next year, and they're saying no, we want to see you play. So,
don't they know if he can play or not?
They're ruthless about all of that. Well, they don't know if he can stay in the park because he's been injured that much. But the bottom line is, you get to a stage where they're ruthless about that, and it won't be ruthless on the person who's all the problem, and it's called Adam Simpson.
Go back to Charlie Curnow and where he was at, going back a few years ago, missing games of football as a young key forward. If I'm hearing that as an AFL list manager right now, I'm absolutely ringing Oscar Allen's manager and saying, what sort of deal do we need to do to get your man to our football club? Because more than just being a wonderful talent inside that forward 50, he's a great leader. He for me, has got to be right up there as far as captains heading forward for the club. What he did last year when they were in the absolute doldrums, he stood up week in, week out. Incredible competitor, great young man. He's the sort of bloke you build a list around, not we'll put contract talks on hold. I'd have that pen in his hand as quickly as possible. He's the man they need to be getting right around, and he will get back and be fit and well, because he's a committed, dedicated young human that's just having a bit of bad luck with a few injuries. He'll get out on the park and be very important for them heading forward. $3.50 Sydney for the flag still money if you want to get involved there. Brad, let's get into Sunday football action for today. Couple of games for the punters. North Melbourne $6.40. That's finally moved this market. They've been $6 all week, now out to $6.40. Collingwood $1.11. That line's at 37.5. And the late game, this has to be the game that GWS get themselves back up and running for the second half of the season. They're $1.52. Port at $2.55. The line at 10.5. I'm very keen the Giants to win this game and win it really well. Kelly back into the side is a very big inclusion.
Yeah, well, North Melbourne. I mean, it's a bit foolhardy. I mean, they had a win last week against the Eagles, which is good. But Collingwood's a completely different kettle of fish. I think they'll show something. I think the ball will ping around. The unders and overs bettors might get a bit of a run for their money here today. I think that's probably more to the case. But Collingwood will just do what Brisbane did to St Kilda the other night, just outscore them and just keep doing that. So, I'm with you, Shorty. So Collingwood win that one. Try and find your own line, whatever it may be on Tab Touch. And the Giants and Port Adelaide. And finally, Ken Hinkley's had to probably succeed to the pressure on Charlie Dixon. He'd been going pretty awful. They're conjoined twins. They're very close, but he hasn't been putting it out there, and they're in a power of trouble. I think they've got their skipper back in, Rosie, which is a good one. Lord gets his first crack at it, so that might give him a little bit of urgency and a little bit of impetus. But I'm with you, Shorty. It looks like their best team for a while. The Giants back on the park, and Kelly back in, Buckley down back. So one in the middle, one at the back. I think that'll be enough to get them over the line today. So for me, clearly it's Collingwood and the Giants.
And Dixon in hot water in the Sandful as well. He'll be on report. So I tell you, I don't know what it is, but it's always fraught with danger. Good players going back into the twos. It's been a little theory of mine for a very long time, but gee, they get into a lot of trouble back down there. And I'm not saying they do it on purpose, but strange things happen. Look at Parker. There's been plenty of others.
Break it down and think about it. There's a lot of young upstarts that they're playing against. Exactly. It's their one opportunity to play on an absolute star of the game. They get under their skin. The older blokes they're not quite as quick as what they used to be. They're hearing from some bloke that's half their age talking lip, and they think, back in my prime I would have dead set given you a bath, and now you're talking pump. Frustration kicks in, bang, you lash out, then you're out for 3 or 4 weeks. You're supposed to be setting an example for the group, and then you're left out there on a limb for a month while you can't play football. It's a horrible scenario.
Well, the only other thing about Charlie Dixon, he does get the best defender, and that makes life a bit easy for Georgiades and Marshall, because then, Georgiades on the comeback. Charlie kicked the bag of 4 there the other week, but Marshall's been a bitterly disappointing player this year in particular, even though they've won 8 games. So he's not going to stand up under the pressure. That's why Dixon's got to play. But eventually, enough's enough, and it's like West Coast with Darling. And when is enough? I mean, you just got to keep doing that. They've got to play. We've got Oscar Allen. They're working hard on Waterman, and they'll have Marek. Marek's going to be okay. But he's just got to be given the time. He's got to be given the time, And there's blokes in the way. Then blokes like Gaff, Sheed, and Darling should not be playing for West Coast between now and the end of the year. Give them a farewell game, absolutely. But if you're trying to go forward, they can't play.
That's what I still can't get my head around. This talk about getting rid of Elliot Yeo, and you've still got those 3 that you just mentioned. Then, stop it. Hang on. Quick one from Snoz here, then we've got to get going and get your Sunday saviour. But Snoz, ask Brad, did the Dockers show that their backline was vulnerable when they must man up? Players like Ryan, Clark and Walker look great when they run off. To be a true defender, you must be responsible. These 3 guys gain their numbers from kick-outs and passing the ball sideways to each other. This doesn't win the tough games. P.S. their on-bowlers were second to the ball for most of the day. That's from Snoz.
Yeah, 100%, and I said that. And you saw it on Friday night again in the first quarter with Brisbane and St Kilda. Very similar setup. Very much a stoic back 6 and some who come down to help out. Well, what did Brisbane do? They just ran at them, ran through them, got close enough, got over the top of them. The Bulldogs ran at them, chipped up, got blokes 35, 40, kicked over the top of it. You know, that's too easy, mate. You know, and as I said, like, until they make adjustments, and very, very quickly, that's the blueprint. Teams are going to work them out now and go forward. They'll win their fair share of games, Fremantle, between now and the end of the year, but they've got to change completely in some respects, because otherwise they're going to be cartwheeling out the back end when they were, you know, all talking about making top 2, top 4 last week.
Sunday saviour.
Yes, Sunny Coast, the only way, because we had a couple of meetings washed out, Marty. Sunny Coast Race 1, number 4, Star or Ambition. There's a very good wrap on it, even money. Race 5, number 7, Ella's World from the Freedman Camp, 3:30. It'll be winning again. And race 6, number... Caxton Lass, what number is that, Marty? It's in race 6.
Oh, you've got me
number
here.
10, I think. Number 10, yeah. So it's $3.40. So race 1, number 4, Star Ambition, $2. Race 5, number 7, Ella's World at $3.30. Race 6, number 10, Caxton Lass, $3.40. 22.44. Wow. I'll try and match last week's winners.
Good on you. There it is for Ginger Jane. All the very best, Brad, of course, for Loans 1, 2, 3 and Retrovision.
Oh, yes. Absolutely. I know you got Mortz's picture over above your studio there.
Can't get away from me. Cannot get away from me.
The new nut, 1-800-100-100. You do things the banks can't, boys. Have a great weekend. I hope you find a winner. Enjoy your day.
Thank you, Bradley.
Blah, blah, blah. Let Marty Young and David Shortte do all the talking on the Aftermath. Sunday morning at his best on Tab Radio Racing and Sport.
Yeah, just trying to get hold of Luke Hilton, who's representing the Björn Baker yard after a great day there yesterday at Eagle Farm. Now, US Open, and it is live play, and the DeChambeau he has come alive. Bang.
On a course that has been very, very difficult to shoot birdies, we are seeing DeChambeau just put a little gap on the remainder of the field. 4 under through today, through 15. He's now got a 4-shot lead over the Frenchman Pavon, who's at 4 under, as is Rory McIlroy and Patrick Cantlay. Hideki Matsuyama's 2 under, as is Ludwig Aberg. I did see earlier on there, Minwoo Lee tie for 25th position at the moment at 4 over. But, Marty, I was saying to you off-air earlier, this particular course at Pinehurst, the greens, like very few other places in the world, are just unforgiving. The actual slopes on them, you only need to be out by half a metre and balls are just rolling straight back down the hill off the greens. Very, very challenging from a putting perspective, and just pine trees as far as the eye can see. The fact that we've only got a handful of players under the card after 3 rounds is a really, really good indicator of just how challenging it is to shoot low scores at this circuit.
Big day up on the Goldfields. Race number 4 on the card. The Goldfields Stock Feeds Merrill Cup is the main event of the day over the 1,100 metres. I reckon years gone by. It used to be over the mile or longer, the old Merrill Cup, but it's over the 1,100 metres. Jarrad Noske's going up, riding up on the Goldfields today, and he's been good enough to give us some time this morning. Morning, Jarrad.
Morning, guys. How you going?
Yeah, we're going well. Yourself, heading up to the Goldfields.
Yeah, something different for the day.
Yeah, earn $1, hopefully. Just quickly, yesterday, how did the Casino 17 go in the Strickland? You made that move into the race and then knocked up. Would have been a disappointing run?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, I've ridden him before, and when the pace slackens, I've sort of sat there and held him, and it's been detrimental to him. So I thought yesterday, when the pace wasn't on, I'd let him roll a bit, and he's been up a long time now, and probably just coming towards the end of his prep. It wasn't his best run.
Can't always go 100% to plan. The horse has obviously done a very good job for a significant period of time now, and I guess they're not robots. It doesn't always work out how they would like. Yesterday as well, Jarrad, we saw you team up with King's Honour. That's a pretty nice effort for third there yesterday over the 1,200.
Yeah, it was his first go at 1,200. I think in time he will get the 12. Maybe the visor's off, and now that he's had a go, he's only ever run over 1,000 and jump and run, so he'll learn to settle over the 12, and I'm sure he'll win a race over that distance. You
teamed up with Nero King. It finished midfield in the West Speed Platinum over the 1,300 metres. What did you make of that effort?
Yeah, he started to chime in sort of at the top of the straight, but just faded a bit late. I think he'll be better for the run next start in the final.
Okay, Jarrad, let's have a look at these rides up in the Goldfields. You may not know a lot about some of them, but you do know a bit about Royal Accolade in race number 3. You've ridden this horse before. It's second up here for Joshy Brown.
Yeah, looked really good last start. Hit the line well, and couldn't have got any closer. So hopefully can go one better today.
Nice draw from barrier 2. Should be able to find herself into a nice spot.
Yeah, you'd think so. He had a good run last start, and he just seemed to be a little bit green in the straight, but when he knuckled down late, he said he's on to the task, and if he can reproduce that sort of effort, you'd think he'd be going very close.
Team up with Greylander in race number 5 over the 1,100 metres. Comes up with barrier 1. Has to carry the 60 kilos. First up this afternoon. Been placed 3 or 4 fresh in the past. Joshy, giving you an idea that Greylander can run well fresh today?
I haven't spoken to Josh about this one, but his form doesn't look that bad coming from East. It's his first run here in WA, and I've seen horses with a lot worse form go well here, so it should be a bit of fun for him.
It's one of the great things I keep saying about the online digital auctions, that these horses can pop up from anywhere now, and the boys have probably obviously bought this. We're only presuming that they've bought it off the online sale. Comes with form from Ipswich and Toowoomba, and as you said, Jarrad, you've seen horses with worse form than this come over here and run well, so you'd imagine it should be a good ride. So into race number 6, and for Ricky Brown, you're riding Pray With You.
Yeah, I thought the step up in distance would help this horse. He looked last start like he started to chime into it, and then hit a bit of a flat spot. So, 7 up to the 1760 should help.
And you may well be finding yourself right there in the mix in the last. A horse that's got the hoof on the till, Callaroo for Rod Brown, placed at its last 3 over similar distances, and looks to be right there in the mix from barrier 6. Just about ready to win, Callaroo. Looks one of your better rides of the day.
Yeah, I think they've been saying that about Callaroo for quite a few starts.
Back at the place
for a lot of his career, but he's a horse with ability. I've ridden him before. He's a bit of a tricky ride, but he's early days he beat Western Empire, so he's got his fair share of ability. But if he can put his mind on the job, it's another thing.
Jarrad, look, even if you don't ride a winner, one thing you're going to do is have a lot of fun up there. You're riding for Rodney, Ricky and Joshy. There's going to be a bit of humour on the day, I'm sure.
Oh, exactly. Yeah.
Browntown. It's Browntown for you today there, Jarrad, everywhere you look.
Yeah, exactly right.
What were the riding? Who do you want to get your riding instructions off the most? I think Freddo's would be the funniest, wouldn't they?
Probably Freddo, yeah. Freddo, he just starts pulling stories out about the old man out. So.
Les Fingers Brown.
Yeah.
Hey, Jarrad, how's married life going for you?
Yeah, good. So far, so good.
Congratulations. I saw that all in the last few weeks. It's always very exciting, and obviously a good opportunity for you to get up there and help to cover some of the X's that go along with the big weddings and the likes, to cover some X's the next little bit. Great catching up with you this morning, Jarrad. Always, every time we chat, I can't help but smile and think back to our great mates in Dave Strom and Talent Show winning the Perth Cup. It's incredible how time flies by, but I'm sure that's still a memory that lives along with you.
Yeah, definitely. Can't believe it's 10 years ago already, but it was him showing me a great way, and
very special moment.
Thanks for having me on.
And I tell you something, they're still talking about the 200. Bushy still talking about the 250s that he got about Talent Show pre-race there. It was a pretty special moment. They celebrated long and strong back at the gate after that. Great catching up there this morning, Jarrad. Have a ripper day up there with the Browns up in Kalgoorlie.
Thanks, guys. Cheers.
Yeah, thanks, Jarrad.
Western Empire away from the fence before the home corner, and he's out and he's going following Casino 17. Be Optimistic relegated to last turner, riding along Maracino, and so the Warhorse at the 300 led by 2 on the outside. Casino 17. Be Optimistic coming down the outside with Western Empire. Ginger Baker comes off the fence. Maracino deeper out. Western Empire. Be Optimistic. Western Empire coming back. Ginger Baker, Maracino, and now Let's Gallivant. Driving driving through. Let's Gallivant. Let's Gallivant has got home to win the Strickland. In the middle, just from Western Empire, Ginger Baker Maraschino there.
Here it is, the finish there of the Swan Draft Strickland Stakes, taken out by Let's Gallivant. He's been a favourite of ours here for a very long time. Dan Pearce joins us on the Aftermath to talk about the win. Hi, Dan.
Morning, guys. How are you?
Very well indeed. Thank you, Dan. Great to be catching up. Hey, congratulations. What a stunning performance this was there yesterday. You guys must have been over the moon, heading in with Let's Gallivant, who's been such a reliable and consistent campaigner for a long period of time now. But this was a really, really big scalp claiming Western Empire there yesterday in the Group 3 Swan Draft Strickland Stakes.
Yeah, he's been a beauty, obviously to level up with a horse like that and be able to get over the top of him in the end is a big thing, and certainly happy with the result.
It was real interesting to listen to Ben post-race and the fact that the horse has been able to win at 2,000 metres at weight for age against a quality opposition like Western Empire. It certainly opens up the future for him a bit, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does, and we'll have to give a bit of thought over the next few days as to where we go. There's obviously that the race at Bunbury in a couple of weeks, so that's we've got a few options with him, and possibly bringing him back and giving him a decent crack at the carnival.
Indeed, yeah, it's a good spot you find yourself in now after a win like that yesterday. The horse obviously came through that run in the Hyperion really well. Went around as a 50-1 chance in that race. It was beaten a narrow margin behind Magnificent Andy. So there was a run that certainly indicated that Let's Gallivant is back in a really good space and was ready to run a good race yesterday. Did you go to the races thinking that Let's Gallivant was a winning hope yesterday?
Yeah, we did. Ben was really keen on his work on Tuesday, like I say, he's been going well all preparation and coming through the runs well. He's sort of run into a pretty strong series this year. Probably just took a little while to get through to the point where he could win. But he's been going super all preparation.
All that form around Magnificent Andy and him, though, it's been consistent, hasn't it? You go back to the Hannons, they've met on quite a few occasions. You beat him in the Carbine Club. So it just goes to show that his form is true, it can be trusted, and as you said, going forward now, he's right up there.
Yeah, that's it. They've been good sparring partners, those two, Magnificent Andy and him, taking it in turns on the way through. But that form's good, and I think he's just a consistent, sound, honest horse that's got a really big ticker, and it gets him a long way.
And to win that way, Dan, I thought the favourite had every conceivable opportunity, Western Empire, where your guy was sort of held up and he had to come back inside of them. It was a really good win.
Yeah, well, we got into a good spot, and he's in that 1-1 spot. I thought this is panning out really well, and then that mid-race move Jarrad made put us in a bit of a sticky spot, Pikey had us to his inside there, and he certainly wouldn't be letting us get out cheaply. So the horse was really travelling at the top of the straight, and just needed that spot, which he ended up getting back towards the inside.
Another horse that you train that has maybe not numerically had the best of preps, but like the trial, and I think the horse is back going well, and yesterday was a really nice result for Ginger Baker running into third place in this particular race. A horse that's got plenty of ability, is now really fit, and I thought sort of deserved to win a race this preparation. How's the horse come through that this morning, and what do you do with Ginger Baker the next little bit?
Yeah, we'll just have to make a plan with him. Obviously, disappointing to come through a whole preparation with a horse that's going super and not be able to get a result. We sort of had them both pretty even the whole way through. Both horses going really well. Probably shows the strength of this series, the fact that he hasn't been able to get a result. But back to a good barrier and Brad on board yesterday. So showed that we're on the right track with him, and the horse is going really well. So yeah, we might just have to look at maybe just popping him out for a week or two and giving him a little freshen, and then he can work back through some races and maybe even heading towards a Kalgoorlie round sort of time.
Another one who could be going to Kalgoorlie, the People's Champ, Ollie's Choice.
Yeah, he's going super, and 11th run in for the preparation yesterday. Had a pretty frustrating start to the prep, and just doing everything he possibly could to get himself beat. And when you see how he's winning now, he's won the 4 in a row. It's hard to imagine how he could have got himself beat earlier in the prep. But yeah, he's pikey on, and he seems to have clicked with him. And yeah, he's won from he won leading yesterday. He's won from 3 or 4 back the fence a couple of starts ago. He's been able to be pretty versatile, and yeah, he's really in a good spot.
Most definitely. It's incredible how when you get horses in the zone, they can just keep fronting up and delivering. And this certainly appears to be the sort of horse that really just thrives on fronting up week in, week out, and getting plenty of racing.
Yeah, and he's the same. He's honest and sound and in a really good spot, and he's been able to string that preparation together, and yeah, really happy for Ollie Hubber, his owner, who's a great stable client, and yeah, really happy to be able to get a result for him, and you see him at the races yesterday and how much it means to him. It's a great result, and yeah, really pleasing for us to be able to make him happy like that.
And Climb on Top, it was a treble for the day. It was the second up win for Oakland Park.
Yeah, he was good. He sort of never really travelled. He was always at his top, and just doesn't fill you with confidence when he looks like he's at his top before straightening. But yeah, he was able to find the room towards the inside, and yeah, got there just in time.
I think overall they'd be delighted with most of the runners from yesterday there. You went to the track with 7 or 8 runners, and most of them have run particularly well. Birds the Word was placed there yesterday. Super Romani also in and amongst it. You'd be pretty happy with the way the team's ticking over at the moment there, Dan?
Yeah, we were wrapped. Like like you say, even the ones that didn't win run really good races. I think Super Romani was 5 weeks between a run at the 1650, running third. I think he was a really good run, and if he can string a few races together, he's certainly got a few staying races in him this preparation, I would have thought. And yeah, Birds the Word. He's honest. He'll head towards the series final in 2 weeks as well.
3 winners yesterday. Gives you a bit of ammo for the Magic Millions winner sale today. You're heading out?
Yeah, we're on the way up there now. So a little bit wounded, a little bit steady out of the gates this morning. Ben's asleep on the back seat, but yeah, we'll be there, and yeah, it's a good sale. Last year we found Simple Living here. She's been to the race and earned over 200,000 already. She was a 10 grand buy here last year. So yeah, look, it's a little bit of work, but you can certainly find a nice horse.
The other thing I love is the job you guys are doing with the ladies' horses, and how, Marty, you know yourself, having the ladies' horses for me has been one of the great initiatives that's come in recent years. To have big groups of ladies going to the races, rolling up their sleeves and getting right involved with horse ownership, bringing their friends along with them, and often showing their husbands how winning is done, particularly with the ladies' horses in recent times. This is something that yourself and your team, I know Danelle's done a wonderful job in this space as well, Dan. Must be really proud of how it's gone, and it's added a lot to your ownership base.
Yeah, definitely, and you've got you end up with partners that their wives might not have come to the races a few years ago, and now they're there competing. My horse is faster than your horse. It's really good, and I think it's something that's building as well. We have our ladies function there each year, and it's something that's getting bigger and more popular. And the girls are having a great time. So it's certainly changing the dynamic, the landscape of it as far as blokes going to the races and watching their horse run, it's certainly twisting that and making it something that couples can do together and really enjoy it together.
Beautifully done, Dan. All the best to you and Ben, and enjoy yourselves out there for Magic Millions today.
Cheers. I think we need a bacon and egg roll and a coffee and we'll be good to go.
Well, it was the Swan Draft Strickland Stakes, so I can imagine why you got yourself into a bit of trouble with the sponsor's product. All the best.
The boys were pouring it into the cup and drinking it in the winner's bar, so they all had a good time.
That's the way to do it.
These are the Sunday Aftermath Big Bets and Collects on Tab Radio, Racing and Sport.
The package. I like being back at Metros on a Saturday night. Eagle Farm, race 1, number 1, Freedom Rally, 6,500 at the even money. Got the chockies. Race 3, number 1, Embassy, 6,000 at the 380. Second, race 8, number 6, Valana, 20,000 at the 460, came a cropper. Rose Hill, race 4, number 7, Perfect Play, 2,000 at the $5, ran third. Race 8, number 8, Spycaster, 2,000 at the $6, back in third. Sandown, they got it early with race 1, number 2, Blue Renegade, 2,000 at the $3.70. Later in the day, not so nice with race 8, number 13, So Risque, 2,000 at the $4, running third. At Belmont, race 3, number 3, Demolish, 9,000 at the $8 unplaced. Race 5, number 9, Reliable Queen, 2,250 each way at the $8.50 unplaced. And race 7, number 8, the big one, left it in there, 1,000 at $15 unplaced. Early money for today at Maui. Race 6, number 2, Sir Freddy. Seymour, race 6, number 2, Magical Land. Sunshine Coast, race 5, number 7, Ella's World. And up there on the Goldfields, race 3, number 3, Lightning Gold. Race 5, number 3, Don Muso. And race 6, number 4, Whiskey Mac is where the early money is going. Big thanks to Jack and the team there for passing on all of that information for the big bets.
Quick one here from Jim Pommy Pie. Fremantle, what a bunch of soggy flannels. There have been talk of them making the top 4. Timmy, playing like they did yesterday, they won't make the top 14. Shocking display. I actually have them finishing 9th. Thank God I support the Mighty Pies. They'll be second tonight and we'll beat Sydney and the Granny. Jim, Bonnie.
Yeah, Jimmy.
Good on you, mate. Thanks for coming in today, David.
Thanks, guys. Have a great Sunday.
Yeah.